welcome back to the Stan Lebed Show. We have a very, very special guest, Samuel Harness, who was featured on The Voice and American Idol.
I got an email. I thought it was spam. And so I called my dad. I'll never forget it. I was coming home from another show in Ohio.
We got a little lyric in there.
Yeah, there you go. I just went out there. I closed my eyes. I sang the song that I was feeling in that moment. You and me! The emotions translated pretty well. They could feel it. And
Can you sing me a song?
that makes me so happy. And that's right there, like why you feel the emotions through my voice. And I had a lot of struggles with all personal. It was like, man, if those whispers have not gone away, but they get quieter and quieter the closer I get to God.
That's so. Dude, you know? No what ifs or buts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how much.
Because there's so much power. So.
Like you have a backpack behind you, so putting tools for you
Man, we can just end it on that, right?
Yeah, like the victim mindset.
to fifth grade.
Yeah.
It was rough. Yeah.
Years ago, before I...
Now.
Guys, welcome back to the Stan Lebed Show. We have a very, very special guest. I was a huge fan before he was my guest. Still a huge fan. Samuel Harness, who was featured on The Voice and American Idol. So, yeah, there you go.
Thanks for having me,
We got
man.
a little lyric in there.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to bust out singing.
Man, I want to literally get off and just jump. You know, there's so much we can talk about. Even just having a conversation with you today.
Yeah.
Felt like we already recorded a podcast.
Yeah.
Just coffee time or walking on the beach.
Right.
And I kind of want to jump right in. So, Samuel, you've lived a life most people probably would never even imagine. Being adopted, facing trauma at a young age, and still choosing healing and purpose through music. So I want to ask you a question. When did you first realize your pain had a purpose?
Wow.
It's deep.
Yeah. Starting it off deep. I would say the moment that I realized that my pain had purpose was the moment that I found music. I was probably 13 years old. Not the first time I ever heard the music, but by the time I was 13 was the moment that I figured out what music can do to me, for me. It's a long story, but just that's the moment I found out that pain can be turned into something good. It's just the power of music.
Yeah, we kind of even talked about this, how music can have such a big influence on people and psychologically.
Right, yeah. I mean, the things that the music, I mean, all music is for everybody, you know what I mean? So, like, we all like music, whether you like rock and I like reggae or whatever it might be. Music is a universal language. That's how I feel, and I feel as if it's medicine for people. And psychologically, I mean, to our brain, it's healing. To our emotions, it's healing. Spiritually, music is healing. And so all around, I can't think of anything else on earth physically that does that for us all around, for our health, for our mental health, for our spiritual health, something that is serving us constantly, which is music. And when I was really, really young, I struggled with anxiety to the point where I would start crying in public settings when I was a lot younger, you know, with my parents, and just struggling with anxiety. And I mean, when I was a kid, nobody was talking about anxiety, saying the word anxiety. Like it wasn't
Yeah, it
much
wasn't
of a
around
thing.
back in the day.
That's
no.
what it feels like. And I know that anxiety has always been there, depression's always been there, but just growing up, it was never a word that people said, oh, he's got anxiety, that's why. It was never that. It was...
I think back then we were able to kind of hide it more because it was not so popular and people were not so openly accepting the fact that depression and anxiety is real.
Right.
Like me, even growing up, if I ever told my parents I was depressed, I probably would have got the slipper. So I just feel like back then it was a lot harder for us to come out
For sure.
and tell people, yeah, we're depressed or we do have anxiety compared to nowadays.
Right. And that's where music comes in. It's a form of expression for me personally. And I'm just blessed enough to have a platform that, other people are able to hear what I have
just
to say.
a quick, awesome story, man. Walking up the elevator into our office.
Yeah.
The elevator was making a very, very small little pitchy noise. And this guy made a whole song out of that little thing. I was like, now the whole time, every time I'm going to be walking back down the elevator, I'm going to be listening
You're going to hear
to
that little buzz.
But
yeah.
it just shows like your love for music and that it kind of consumes your life in a way that every part of your life is music. It feels like just witnessing that little moment in the elevator. People that don't know you might not realize.
Yeah.
But just me seeing that now, like next time I listen to your music, it's gonna hit a little different because I do know how much music actually has, like, influence it has on your life.
Yeah, it's got a grip on me.
So that
fully.
elevator moment, it really, it might not look it like for you, but for me,
Right.
it looks that changed my view on
Wow.
you actually.
Great.
Because we were talking about it just now at the cafe about how music, you know, I asked you a question, your hobbies, and how, because I know that you can't do everything in music, and the only way to get away is by doing something completely away, because you are consumed by it in a way.
For sure.
Such a big influence.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to transition a little bit into your obviously growing up, because man, you have one heck of a story, and
Right.
I really right off the bat want to shout out your parents, because like I told
Yeah.
you in the car, I have a heart for adoption.
Yeah.
And that's my goal in life, to, if God opens that door, to adopt, and
be
to
amazing.
realize that even the first phone conversation we had, you're like, man, I'm one of 5 adopted kids.
Yes.
I'm like, and you tell me in the car like how much patience and selflessness your parents have. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
kinda-
it all starts out just you know, my mom was unable to physically have her own children, and so God put it on her heart, you know, to adopt, and so she adopted my oldest brother Josiah out of Alaska, and my parents were living in Alaska for a while when they were first married, and so all of that lined up perfectly for them, and then my older sister Holly came along and they adopted her, and then they didn't know if they were going to keep adopting, and God literally put my information in front of them. They actually were in the process pursuing another child. They were, you know, thinking about adopting this person, and, you know, kind of going through the process. And long story short, my papers were put in front of them, and they said, we don't even know him, and this is who God says we're supposed to have. So it all started out in a God moment like that my information was put in front of my parents. And so, yeah, I'm one of 5, all adopted. We all have different looks to ourselves. You know, some of us are darker, some of us are lighter. And so it's made up for a fun youth.
So like, yeah, I guess, what was childhood like growing up?
Yeah.
I guess, how old were you when you were adopted?
Oh, I was only 2 months old.
2 months, man.
Yeah, so I was 2 months old. So it's not like I can look back and, you know.
So you don't know your biological.
I do know my biological mom now. When I turned 18, my parents have given us the freedom, once we turn 18, to pursue that if that's a door we wanted to open. All of our adoptions look differently. And for mine, my birth mom had reached out to me several times when I was maybe 16, 17 years old, and just kind of, you know, introducing herself and all of that. And it was a lot for a 15, 16, 17-year-old to be processing, because through my adoption, and I can't speak for everybody who's adopted, but through my adoption, I had a lot of struggles with feeling wanted or like I belonged. And that didn't come from my parents making me feel that way, or siblings or anything like that. It was all personal. It was like, man, if this person's gives me up for adoption, like, do they just not want me? I mean, she has other kids. What makes me the one that had to go up for adoption? I struggled with that, honestly, for a long, long time, when I could start kind of figuring out those thoughts and processing those emotions. So that it's about that age, 15 through 18, that I was really discovering who I was, but also discovering where I came from. And I didn't get all the answers that I wanted. When I met my birth mom, it did not go the way I planned for it to go. I had a lot of expectations in my head. That's my fault for going into something so serious with such
of course.
different expectations. But, you know, I was young. I just didn't know anything.
Well, I give you even props for even pursuing, even trying to figure out, or knowing that person, you know, because forgiveness is huge. I'm not sure the story of why she adopted you, but man, it must have been super difficult to even pursue that idea of meeting somebody that ultimately left you.
It was. I mean, because being adopted, like, I have my parents. I have, you know, mom and dad, the people that have raised me. That's my mom and dad. And then to be told, like, but you do have somebody else who gave birth to you. And, you know, looking around at my friends at that age, when I was 16, 17, looking around and like, well, she looks like her mom, or he has his dad's eyes. I don't have that. I didn't get that. So, that was just something for me personally that I struggled with, and also just having a different hair texture than my parents, or just being my ethnicity being different than my siblings, and all of us being different. There was just, I didn't know the power in, you know, being unique at that time. I wanted to fit in really bad, and that's just something I was really struggling with, was just, why was I adopted out? Why,
But man,
why didn't she want
God
me?
put you there. and that's who he
Amen.
made you who you are today.
Exactly.
And I
Amen.
guarantee you, without your parents, who knows where you would have been? You know,
Amen.
especially putting you in a loving home.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Best home.
Yeah,
Shout out mom and dad.
100%. Because a lot of times I hear adoption stories, but man, the parents that adopt are not loving, not caring.
My parents are the most generous, kind, loving, accepting, forgiving people I've ever met. And I told you earlier, like I want to be like my parents, and not everybody can say that about their mom and dad.
100%.
And
yeah.
I want to be like my parents when I get older, you know. So that's
Yeah.
that's
Is that
something.
kind of where, like, when you started to realize that, man, I did not come from, these are not my biological, is that kind of where trauma or anxiety?
I think that's where I started to recognize it. So this is where it starts getting kind of real. It's just like I think that's the age I started to recognize the gravity of the emotional pit I was digging for myself unknowingly. I mean, turning 18, meeting my birth mom, and trying to process all of that and trying to understand the reason she gave me up for adoption, but then also grappling with the fact that I was homeschooled all growing up, all the way till I was about 15 years old. So I was homeschooled and I lived under a rock. Like I thought paved roads were for rich people. That's how far out in the country I lived.
Yeah.
So like we had gravel roads. I lived in the middle of nowhere. I had one neighbor. And so growing up, that's all I knew. That was my normal. We had to drive like 25 minutes to get to a store. Like it was not just, go down the street and go down and hang out
Yeah.
at Sally's house and go to the
Yeah.
gas station, get a popsicle.
Maybe God placed you there on purpose, because I think if
Yeah.
you were closer to the world, or like, I think it might have hurt you even more.
Yeah, who knows?
Because then you have a lot more comparisons, like,
Exactly.
oh, this kid's parent, or I think
Right.
it might have even gave you more trauma.
Well, that's
and
what
more-
happened when I went to public school then. I ended up going to public school, and that's it. I mean, that just only enhanced everything in my mind that I was already struggling with in silence. And just like, oh, now there's like social hierarchies. There's popular kids, there's not popular kids, there's sportsy kids, and like all of that. So trying to navigate that at that age with adoption, already struggling with anxiety all growing up. I had issues with public speaking or just speaking to strangers in general. Even giving my order at Pizza Hut, I would start crying. Like I had a deep anxiety about myself. So that was about the age that I started to listen to music. Like
Wow.
a lot. Like I would obsessively turn on my CD player. I had a little tape player and a CD player, and I would go back and forth between tapes and CDs. And I'd put headphones on and I'd ride my bike for miles and miles out in the country. Like I'd probably do like 10 miles in a day. Just keep going. And I would just listen to the same song over and over again by the same artist. And if I really liked a certain part of the song, or if I liked this acoustic part of the song or something like that, I would just have it on repeat. And that started the process of what music was to me. I started to realize, I think I'm hearing this different than most people. I think I'm hearing that small part, or what is that chord? Why is that making me feel this way? And so that's the moment, those are the moments in such a emotional turmoil ball of just
But isn't that
craziness.
when, that seems like that's when everybody finds a passion for
yeah,
something. Or,
music cut right through it all.
Yeah.
Cut
It's
right
when
through it
you're
all.
down in the pit.
Yeah.
Is when you really find out.
Right.
So that's kind of seems, for
Such-
your situation, it's such a young
Yeah.
age. Oh, I guess I got to ask you, what kind of music did you listen to at that age?
Oh,
At
yeah.
Such a young age.
I listened to like anything and everything, but growing up, I listened to a lot of country music.
I mean,
my
being
dad,
that you're in the middle of the country.
right in the middle of Indiana, in the country.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of bluegrass, a lot of country music. It's all I really had access to. I mean, I had some CDs of like Christian artists like Stephen Curtis Chapman and Chris Rice and a whole bunch of cool people, but I would just specifically seek out, I don't know why, but I would specifically seek out emotional songs. Just something that made me feel something. If it was happy, great song. But
Right.
I wanted the sad stuff. I wanted just the piano and the vocals all the time. And like now I can think back, that's where my passion for,
That's so
singing with
awesome.
just the piano and vocals comes from. But those were the years, those were the moments that I started to slowly fall in love. Were some of the most painful years of my life.
That's awesome. That's a good way to get introduced to music, CD player.
Right? Yeah, dude.
I remember
it's
those days.
crazy. Yeah.
Because now, I mean, most of the people are not, a lot of the people are not going to relate.
You won't even know.
The younger
Yeah.
generation, they're going to be like, that guy's a CD player.
Right?
So
Yeah.
just, I could relate because on the school bus, bringing a huge CD player.
Yep. Yep.
cleaning the disc off.
Yes,
because
you have to wipe it on your pants and
So it's just cool to be able to relate
Yeah.
because we're similar in age, and I went through those times too. But for me, honestly, even though growing up in a Christian household, for me, it's like I wanted worldly stuff like Eminem.
yeah.
That's the stuff that I used to listen. I used to be heavy like CDs on Eminem and Dr. Dre, and
Right. Right.
Tupac even. You
Yeah,
know, I
good
think
music.
mostly because I grew up in a house, I just wanted to explore. Like,
Right.
but music has such a big influence,
Mm-hmm.
even in those early days. So, I guess while we're talking about adoption, I kind of wanted to speak on really quick how we can inspire somebody that's going through that situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they're hitting their teenage age,
Right.
and they're adopted, and they're feeling the anxiety and
Right.
the struggle. How could you kind of inspire them to, or how could they overcome that?
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody that was sitting here, during that time that you went through it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say don't stop asking questions. I think that's where I really tripped up. And I wish if I could go back in time, I would probably ask a lot more questions. It's not disrespectful to ask your adopted parents, like, about your birth mom. It's not disrespectful. It's not wrong. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to wonder about yourself because there's a lot of factors in this world, in our bodies, the way that God created us. There's a lot of factors that run in our DNA. So, I mean, things that are in my DNA might not be in my adoptive parents, bloodline, but
Yeah.
it could be in the bloodline of who I was, born to. And that could be more prone to addiction or lying or stealing or whatever. Those things are literally in us. And so the more answers you can find, in my case, I would say just don't stop asking questions because there's healing in, asking questions. And even if you don't find the answers, you're still seeking. And that's where you can trip up. I stopped looking for answers and I just started to assume. Like I said earlier, I went into with assumptions to meet my birth mom. And I assumed it would be all sunshine and rainbows and everything came together perfectly and I was conceived in the most beautiful, loving way. And that's not the reality. The reality is my birth mom's just as human as anybody else. And, to learn the story of how I was conceived really shook me to the core. But I'm glad I at least asked those questions.
100%.
Because if I never did, I would never know. And I would never be able to process those things. And having questions in your mind is like one of the most difficult things. You're just going to bed with so many questions on your mind. Like,
Yeah.
ask those things, seek the answers. And
No, and I just had a thought that came like no matter how you were conceived, that God knew you before He formed you in His mother's womb.
Yes.
So like that thought just came to my
Isn't
head.
that
Like,
amazing?
man, like you're such a beautiful soul that no matter how you got conceived,
right.
we're so thankful that you're here, and God's so thankful that you're here. That He knew
Right.
you before He even formed you in the mother's womb.
Isn't that
So that thought just came to me as you were telling
Thank
me
you
this.
for
I'm like,
that.
man, that's so amazing that even if we never knew how your birth story happened,
Right.
we're so
Right.
thankful that God picked you.
Yeah.
And that just came to my mind when we were talking. You were just sharing that. So
Thank you. I needed to hear that.
that's so
I really
amazing.
needed to hear
yeah.
that. Thank you.
And I want to encourage other people to know that, like, even you might not know how you got conceived, or maybe it was through something evil or something bad. But you got to remember that even before the foundation of this world, God already knew that you're going to be
Yep.
here and that He formed you. So
Amen.
life is so beautiful no matter where you came from.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
And it's awesome. That thought just literally just came as you were sharing that. It's amazing.
That's beautiful. And that's how you feed into each other. I mean, in the body of Christ, and when you're believers, you can feed into each other just by those thoughts that you're having and saying
we
it
had
out
a
loud.
lot of
So
those
thank
moments
you.
today. So
Yeah, it's just like those were moments in my life that I was going through so much. And I guess I'll tell you because it's all, I mean, when I talk about these things, my hands start to shake. I kind of get clammy because I get so nervous. Around that time in my life formed so much of me. I think also I realized the power of music when we had a family friend growing up, and I ended up being sexually abused for a long, long time when I was maybe like 7, 8 years old. So even then, I was so sheltered at that time. So that was my normal. I didn't know any better. I didn't know that this was wrong. I didn't know what was, and so I didn't tell my parents about anything. I didn't ask questions about anything. I just kept it to myself. And I think that was the moment that I started to build proverbial trauma ball inside of me. I held it inside. And so then when the truth came out and when all of that stuff known, that it shaped me. It shaped me into feeling like, okay, so what is right and what's wrong? Do I tell people this? Do I never tell anybody this? Do I ever tell anybody that this has happened to me? Because that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I feel like, when the older you get, I was used as a man, like that, like I was defiled, and like that's just so embarrassing as a man, but also demeaning. And so having that, and then being homeschooled, trying to deal with that, and then move on into meeting my birth mom, going to public school for the first time. I played sports all growing up, so I played travel baseball even when I was homeschooled, but I played with kids who were in public school. So I would get little doses of like what the real world was like when they'd be talking about something in the dugout or whatever. Totally normal dugout talk for boys, but in the homeschool world under a rock, you don't hear any of these things. So trying to navigate those and just all of those pieces all in one led me to be a really, really anxious person. And I didn't want to ask questions. I just would follow in line and just do because I was just too nervous, So I think all of that comes from holding those things inside. And so when I found music, I finally found something on my bike rides that felt like I was being heard and being spoken to all at the same time. I felt like I was able to, when I was riding my bike, I didn't know how to sing at that time, but I would just scream out, singing the lyrics or whatever and thinking I sound great. But I was able to like say what I'm feeling and be healed at the same time. And I'd never experienced anything like that. And so all of that, the culmination of all of those things, and then turning 14 through the years of 18 shaped my love for music through trying to cope with all of those things happening in my world.
Yeah, that's awesome. But like you were saying that for you it was the bicycle, and singing for us men, it's in the shower.
Yeah.
We all think we're professional. I bet you our cameraman sings in the shower too.
Yeah.
It's all of us. I think it's true.
It is. It is. But it's music. I mean, you can't.
We all sing, even though some of us suck at it. But like if I'm driving, I'm singing. I come home and I have I can't barely talk.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm shy, but that's like the best time because it's your alone time and there's no distractions. You're just singing. Music just has so much power, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's
so.
scary.
I guess when did music really at what age did music really you're like, yeah, this is something that I really want to pursue.
Yeah. So when it started to turn into a career, first of all, I had no idea that you could go and perform places more than once. I thought you kind of performed like at one bar or brewery once and then you just moved on to the next. And I didn't understand all that. So when somebody offered me the idea later on when I was maybe 20 years old, they're like, you should come play at this brewery and we'll pay you to do that. And we'll pay you every week to do it or every other week. And I was like, really? Like that can be a thing? So I found that out and I started doing that. And then the year 2020 came. And that was a horrible year for the entire world.
Oh, 100%.
Everything shut down. People are sick and dying, and just all of these terrible, horrible things are happening. And I got an email. I thought it was spam, and it said, audition for The Voice, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whatever, this is dumb. And then I got another email, and I was like, emails? Why would they email and ask if I wanted to audition for this show? And so I called my dad. I'll never forget it. I was coming home from another show in Ohio. I was driving back a couple hours, and I had called my dad, and I was saying, I got some emails from him, and he said, you should try it. You should audition. You should try it. And I had only been playing at bars and breweries every now and again and here and trying to make a career of it. And he said, you should just do it. What's the worst that will happen? And I was like, well, everybody hates me, and I just and what I suck, and and he's like, no, you should just try it. So I tried out, I auditioned, and I went through all of the rounds of audition and all these interviews, and they're like, come out to LA, come audition. We want you to sing in front of
How do they even
the judges.
I guess how'd you even get to that point of like getting your music out for them to even
that's a God thing, because I had only started to perform maybe 2 years before The Voice publicly. I had never released music until the year 2017. I had never publicly performed in this way. So all of it just kind of came together in such a God way. I wish I could say, yeah, I knew exactly what I was going to sing and this and this and this. I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of seeing an open door and walking through it and trusting if this is meant to happen, it will happen. And if it's not meant to happen, it won't happen. And the further I walked into it, the more things started to fall in line. And so it was a blessing. I got to audition and I sang Here Without You by Three Doors
I
Down.
was just gonna say,
yeah, you know it.
1,000 miles, whatever it is. Come on,
You
spit
sing it.
Say a little bit of it. The lyrics.
100 days have made me older.
Dude, I love that song because there was a good remix back in the day.
Yeah, dude.
There was a
it's
rap
so
remix.
emotional.
Like back in
Really?
there's one of the famous rappers did a remix with it.
I didn't know that.
That was like years. This
I
song
didn't
is
know
so
that.
old.
It's a really old song,
But
but
there was a
it's super
remix.
relatable, and I
Dude.
really like it. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, I could just sing that, but I'm not a rock singer.
But dude, you picked such
So
a good
I
song.
slowed down, so
and that's the song
thank
that
you.
then the guy hit the lady. or
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I got to work with John Legend,
John
and then
Legend.
Blake Shelton turned around.
Speaking of-
Ariana Grande turned around.
Even speaking about that, how nerve wracking is it? So how does the voice even work? If they don't hit a button,
Yeah, if none of them hit a button, then
You're done.
You're just not on a team.
so how did you have to keep your? I saw your eyes were closed most of the time because you probably don't want to see
The
it.
only way I can sing is with my eyes
Well,
closed.
the fact that you're probably so concentrated and them pressing the button too, I could only imagine.
Well, like I said, okay, so like the kind of pressure that was on me to when I went on the show was this is what I want my career to be. I know that music is my medicine and it's what I'm supposed to do. And God gave me this voice for a reason. And I, taught myself how to play guitar when I was younger. I taught myself how to play piano, taught myself how to sing. I didn't have lessons. I didn't have anybody saying, no, tweak it in this way, just that.
Yeah.
I had to do it all myself, vocally and instrumentally. So you got to think like all that pressure of teaching myself, and then you go on one of the biggest stages in America or maybe even the world, and you're auditioning in front of these famous people. Like there's so much pressure because I'm like, if they don't turn, this is embarrassing. If they do turn, who do I pick? If they do turn, what does that do for my life? And so trying to navigate all those thoughts, I just went out there, I closed my eyes, I sang the song that I was feeling in that moment because I was so far away from home. I had been gone for so long filming already. So I was already there without, my family and just missing everything. So the emotions translated pretty well. They could feel it. And that's what it's all
I
about.
felt it after I found out you were on The Voice. I watched it like multiple times. I'm like, man.
Wow.
And now it's gonna hit more deep because I'm sitting right
Now
here,
you know. Oh,
and I
thank
know
you.
your story now. So
Yeah.
it hits so much more when you know that person on a personal level. So
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of music. You can even not know that person, but you
Right.
can relate to them through music.
Right.
So
Yeah, dude. It's amazing.
that's awesome. So and then you I guess how did that go? How did the whole episode end? And
Yeah, so I got to work with John Legend. He turned around for me. Ariana Grande turned around, and Blake Shelton turned
you
around.
pick one, or how
And I
does
got
it-
to pick one of those three. Kelly
pick?
Clarkson didn't turn around for me. She was the only one that
made a mistake?
She didn't. She didn't like me the entire time, but we won't talk about that. She just never turned around for me. She never voted for me to like win my battle round or anything. So I don't know. Yeah, I picked John Legend, and I got to work with him. I ended up going on and winning the next round, my battle round against another team member on my team. I went on to the knockout round, and I won that round. I won that round with an emotional Louis Capaldi song. So there's kind of like, there's a little trend of like, ooh, emotional songs might be my wheelhouse.
yeah. Let me ask you, how'd you know what songs to pick?
You don't, I mean,
Did they give them you?
there
get
are certain cleared songs, like, certain networks probably have a whole list of cleared songs that are okay to sing and not okay to sing and whatever. It does come to a point where, yeah, you got to pick from songs that are cleared to play on there. But yeah, it was awesome. And I went on to the live rounds, being on live TV. And it was really God's protection because the further you go on the show, the more strict certain things contractually can be, as far as like, limiting your ability to get off the show and instantly go and start touring or whatever it could be. I know there's just little pieces in contracts and stuff like that. So it was a God thing for me to when I got off the show at the stage that I did, because instantly I got off the show, I did what I was supposed to do, and then I went to go tour around and I played shows live.
That's
and
so awesome.
I'd never seen so many people show up to where I'm playing and actually like it and signing things and
That's so awesome.
all of that. So it
Did
changed
you
my life.
realize that right off the bat, or were you like, man, I'm so discouraged that?
I was discouraged at the beginning because I was living in such a bubble while filming the show. I was in LA and only at the studios where we're filming and stuff. So it wasn't like I was walking out in the real world or going back home and seeing people's reaction and stuff. I could only see it online. So when I was off the show and ended up going in person and seeing all these people show up to my shows and like cheering and knowing the words and all of these things, like it was super trippy.
That's so
but it's
awesome.
such a blessing. And then-
Yeah, it's like we were talking earlier that our plans are not always God's plan, and we might not realize it, but like you realize it afterwards,
Right.
that
Yes.
man, this is God,
Yep.
for stopping
100%.
me where I stopped. So at least you came to that realization.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people in life, they don't know or they can't. They put God in a bubble first off, and then they obviously limit him, and his plans are not our plans.
Yeah.
And we hate to accept the fact sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard.
So you coming to realize that, hey, this was God's hand in that season, this is amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to be honest. I got to be human and transparent and say, you know, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is God's doing in that moment. I wasn't thinking that. I was so hyped up in myself and what I could do and all of that I'm thinking, I'm discouraged. I didn't do well enough. I didn't do this. But slowly as time went over, it's just like, it was very clear that God was like, hey, I took you out of there for a reason, to put you over here to do this. And, you know, even fast forward, I went on the show American Idol like a year or two after that show, like 2 years after The Voice, and did season 21 of American Idol, and did really well on there. And so then that kind of did a lot more for me, and, you know, gave me the confidence to go on and do what I do now. So
Is season 3 coming or no?
right? I mean, I don't know if I'd ever do
Or
reality
they have
TV
like, don't
again.
they have like American Idol in like Australia or something?
I think they have
Or
like
some,
yeah.
next thing you
somewhere
know,
out
you're
there.
in Australia just doing like a.
I'll
you
act
can
like somebody
fit the
new.
Australia
Australian?
vibe.
There you go.
Yeah. Aren't
Yeah.
they like more chill and?
Probably, yeah, a little more loose, a little.
Because in America, I
easygoing.
feel like everybody's just like go 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 go. And
How it feels.
I think in Australia they just all see more just guitars sitting around.
I'm for that vibe.
So you might actually
I want
fit it
that
very
vibe.
well. So season 3 is coming.
Look out for it.
Speaking about God, even like how I see you mentioned God a lot in your life. So growing up with your parents, they probably had faith in God, right?
For sure, yeah. I grew up in a Christian home, conservative, quiet, not too many problems, you could say, you know, like the, you know. But the older I got, my parents have just always been consistent. My parents have always been consistently kind and loving and gentle and Christ-like. And so for me, watching that growing up, that's what I want to be. That I like
That's awesome.
just seeing the way that they choose to love other people, even when it's not easy. Like I want that. I want to do that. And so I grew up in a home that strived to be that and to not be perfect. I kind of get caught up in that. And my relationship with God is just like, I have to be perfect, or I can't do this, otherwise I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to mess up. And the great thing about Jesus dying on the cross for us is that you don't mess that up. He doesn't die for a percentage of your sins, and the rest is left up to you. He dies for it all.
Amen. man,
And
that's
so
good.
the
Yeah.
fact that Christ has died for all of my sins and all of my shortcomings then and now and whenever, I'm covered, you know? And so if you believe in the gospel and that Jesus died on the cross for you,
Yes,
there's
just
a sense
it
of peace you can't
magnifies.
beat.
It makes his blood that he shed powerful because
Mm-hmm.
if we limit his his sacrifice to just one moment in our
Yeah.
lives or one sin or this or that, we limit him.
Yeah.
But obviously, I mean, you just said it's so good. It's,
Yeah, it's all
I
about
can
a
just say
relationship.
amen to every word you were
man.
saying, man.
No, I want to have a relationship with God. I don't want to be religious. I don't want to do this, then God will love me. I want to know that I'm loved. I want to have a relationship. I want to come to God and say, I'm struggling, like I'm addicted to this, or I don't feel good enough right now, or I feel so sad, I don't even feel like being here right now. Because all of those thoughts, I should say, have never left. Like even from my childhood till now, I'm 31, those thoughts don't leave. My anxiety has not left me for good. My depression has not left me. The spiritual attacks and like the mental attacks on my past and, you know, you're not good enough or you were adopted, those whispers have not gone away, but they get quieter and quieter the closer I get to God.
That's so awesome.
So that is what I would speak to somebody. You asked me earlier, what would you say to somebody who's in your position through adoption or whatever? I would say the closer you get to God, the less that nonsense can be whispered in your ear, because you're putting the helmet of salvation on, and just like
Yeah. Another thought just came. Even like the Bible says, like we have to crucify ourselves daily.
yeah,
Because
Yeah.
we're still going to be, the next day we wake up, we're still going to be the person that we
Yeah.
were yesterday.
we got to die to our flesh
Constantly.
daily.
So like
It
you're always,
sucks. It's hard.
It's super
It's not
difficult.
easy at all. And people, I don't want people watching this to think that it's easy or that casually can calmly have a relationship with God and never have anything happen in my life that's wrong. That's not the case at all.
Yeah.
If anything, I think we talked about it earlier. If anything, sometimes it feels like the closer you get to God or the more you pursue a relationship with God, the harder stuff gets.
the harder the enemy
The harder
attacks.
the enemy attacks, the more he wants to whisper in your ear and say all of those lies and all of that. And that's, I mean, I'm living proof of that. I have lived in a time of those lies and I have allowed it to devour me. But God is gracious enough to show me the gift of music, and he knew that I was going to be able to get out of those things with the help of music and him. But like, it's not easy at all to
Yeah.
follow. Like, all of Jesus's disciples died, right?
Yeah.
Am I thinking of that wrong?
No, 100%.
Like,
I want to
his
even just bring
disciples
up, because
died.
this really touched me earlier when we talked about Judah.
About Judas, yeah.
Judas.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking about I think it was
My parents,
something,
yeah.
and Jesus, and then if you can kind of remember what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
no, I'll tell you exactly. Like, what inspires me, what's really inspiring, especially makes me want to get closer to know God and to know his love are my parents, because I compared my parents to you earlier. I was telling you my parents have such Christ-like attitudes. They remind me of Jesus. Jesus knew Judas was going to betray him. Jesus knew that Judas was going to sell him out for some coins and, everything that would happen. But never throughout the entirety before all of that happens in the betrayal did you hear Jesus say, and everybody, and Judas, are you listening? He never
No.
side-eyed. He never didn't kiss Judas and only did this. You didn't know, because Jesus treated him so equally. And so my parents are the perfect example in my life, treating their children so equally and everybody so equally that you wouldn't think, oh, but that's the person who did this to them. That's not how it is. And so when you actually witness somebody loving others like that, it's inspiring. It's like, wait, how do I get to that level? How do I get to the level of that person has hurt me so much and said so many mean things to me and hurt me in so many different ways, and I can turn around and give them a hug and say, that's okay.
Man, that's amazing.
That's my parents for you. So if that can give you an idea of the household that I grew up in and my parents, that's the inspiration that I carry into. I strive to have a love like
That
they do.
is so awesome. I am all about pushing limits. And with the pod company's ice baths and saunas, they are a game changer for recovery and discipline. So I partnered with them with their affiliate program. So if you use my link, it will support the channel and your health. So go to podcompany/the Stan Lebed Show and grab one today. I guess, when did your parents, because growing up as kids, if we grow up in Christian households, we are relying on our parents' faith.
Right.
I'm a Christian because my parents.
Right.
I grew up in a Christian household. It's crazy because sometimes people take it even to adulthood, and they never actually realize that you can actually talk. You can actually have a relationship with God.
Right.
That's the beauty about Christianity, or following Jesus, that you can have a relationship with your Father, not just follow religion or rules. And
Right.
it's like just me talking to my dad.
Yeah.
I don't have to be on my knees. I don't
Right.
have to be, bowing down. I could just sit and talk with the Lord anywhere, in the car. And that's such a beauty that you can have.
Yeah.
Even to know that an all-powerful creator God even desires to have or listen to us.
Right.
And every time we talk to him, and he opens his ears. So just that thought alone, man,
It's comforting.
it's unbelievable.
It is.
There's no words for it, even for me, to know that we serve a God that's even willing to listen to our. And sometimes we say, like, oh, I'm not going to bring it to God. It's too small.
Right.
Like, or it's too big. Why are we limiting God,
Right.
and his ability? Tell him everything.
Right.
Small, big, in between.
And I'm trying to think of a perspective of somebody who might not know God or might not know Jesus. I encourage anybody who's listening to this to just seek. That's what the Bible says. Seek me and you will find me. God is just asking for your effort to step towards him. He's not asking for you to be perfect. He's not asking for you to go home, stay at home for 10 days straight and be perfect and never mess up. Then you can go talk to him. It's not that. It's not that at all.
This is a great way to tell new believers. A lot of churches put trips on people. Religion, it puts trips on people. It sounds like, the way I tell people is, Jesus, when you catch a fish. So, like, what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to clean yourself up before you come to Christ.
Right.
You just come as you are,
Right.
and he'll do the cleaning afterwards.
Right.
That's the way we have to look at God. We never have to clean ourselves before we can,
Right.
fall in his presence. We come as we are.
Yeah.
And then our life sanctification process, it's our whole lifetime. We're never going to we're always going to miss the mark of perfection. And I think that's kind of what trips people up, is thinking that they have to make themselves perfect before they can come to a holy God.
Yeah.
But it's clearly, it's the opposite.
And there's a lot of hurt out there that I've been hurt by people at churches and that, and just I mean, I don't know if I'd label it as church hurt or not, but there's a lot of things I've pursued and just wanted to be around certain people that went to a certain church, and I wasn't good enough for them because maybe I did something that they didn't agree with, or I say something that they don't agree with, or whatever it is. I mean, a lot of people are going to come across people who claim to be a Christian, but you can't come here if you're still doing that.
Yeah.
Jesus never acted that way in the Bible. Jesus was hanging out with prostitutes and drunks and tax collectors. And mind you, tax collectors in the Bible were like some of the most hated people.
100%. Yep.
Just, oh my goodness, why are they here? Kind of people. So the fact that Jesus is hanging out with them, and I still struggle with that idea of being like, oh, I probably shouldn't be around them. They're doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, Jesus didn't act that way. He had self-control, so, and he had love. So
Amen.
I don't know. I want that. I want that really bad.
So kind of even talking, like I asked you earlier, when does a person's faith go from being their parents' faith to their own? I guess in your own personal story in your life, when did you transition? Because it's like I said, when we grow up in a Christian household, we tend to hold on our parents' faith because we're told to.
Right.
And that's kind of all we know. So when did it become real to you in your life?
My faith became real to me. I had known, I believe in Jesus. I had known, right from wrong growing up. But I guess that's a good question. It became more real to me, I guess, when I transferred to a public school, because it's like either you're going to be of the world or you're going to be in the world and trying not to be of the world. You know what I mean? So like going to school for the first time in public school and hearing conversations that, you shouldn't be engaging in, or doing things you shouldn't be doing, or, whatever it is, just even down to respecting the people that are in authority at the time at school, you're left with choices. And so for my choices, I didn't always choose the right thing, obviously. Young, naive, young guy doing what I want to do. But at the same time, that's when it started to become real to me, is like either you're going to live out what you say you believe, or you're going to just kind of completely forget it.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's everybody comes to a point in their life when they have to make that relationship on their own and not their parents. But I'm all for parents building a foundation because it's so important. When you build when you teach your kid the truth, they'll know all the counterfeits.
And also when you live it out. Like I don't think that everybody, unfortunately, is in the position where they're told, hey, you should, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, but I'm going to live this way. And you're not going to see an example of his love in my life, but I'm going to tell you. I think that a lot of people experience that, and I think that's where a lot of hurt comes from, is being told one thing but shown another.
And even, we were just talking about this in the car, like, obviously, first thing, most probably common saying is actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
And by your fruits. So sometimes the best preaching to someone is by your actions.
Yeah.
Even though they might not see it for a long time, but if that's a way for them to realize, because sometimes words come off harsh.
Right.
Oh man, you're doing this bad. Sometimes people don't want. But if you show them by your actions, they'll be like, man, I want what he wants.
Right.
Not what he wants, but what he has.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of having a relationship with God, because people are gonna be like, man, I want what he has.
Right.
The peace.
Right.
The joy, constant joy.
Right.
And that's, I think, speaks a lot louder than anything we can say to each other or to someone.
Oh, for sure. And just even in your everyday life, just when you see somebody needs help, or, whatever it is, just going the extra mile and doing things that Jesus would do himself.
Yeah. So
That's
honestly,
the goal.
building that foundation in your children early. And it's a lot of people confused, like, they'll try to teach their kids, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Just tell them what the truth is.
Yeah.
You don't have to teach those people who find counterfeits.
Right.
You don't have to show them a million counterfeits.
Yeah.
You just show them the one truth.
Yeah.
The one actual piece, and then they'll know the rest are counterfeits. So the same thing, you just, build that foundation for your children, and they'll know the truth.
Yeah.
Don't let them go and learn all these counterfeits. Just teach them the truth.
I believe that. Yeah.
So that's huge.
It's all your choice, too. That's a big thing my mom always said. You can choose your choices, but you can't choose your consequences. So, like, you can make whatever choice you want to make. And that's kind of how I'm very thankful that my mom had chosen to teach me that early on. It's all about your choices and the choices we make in life, but you can't choose the consequences. So if you want to choose to run off. There was a time in my life where, I found out I was going to be a father. I was like 22 years old, 21 years old. When I first found out, it was with somebody who, her and I were not in a relationship anymore. We had been broken up for like at least a month. And she called and she's like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh my goodness, not with you, please. No, it was crazy. But, it was reality. And the reality was that, you're about to be a father. You need to get your shit together, like for lack of a better term. I ran. I made the choice to just run. I moved to Colorado and I wanted to just be away from everything. I just didn't know. I was going through like a weird episode in my mind to just like, what do I do now? Like, this is so real. Things are getting so real. But I made my choices, and consequences aren't always bad. They can be good too. And so I made a choice, and in this situation, it happened to be good. I've got a
I'm so
son.
happy you brought that up because I forgot, about you being a father.
I am a father.
Because that plays a huge role too in your life,
It really does.
How was the early stages of your life when you did become a father?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that right there, I show you, like, before my son was born, I was in a place of me. What am I going to do to feel good myself? How am I going to enjoy life myself? And when you become a parent, it's not about you anymore at all.
I was just going to say, it's no longer about us.
Yeah. So, and it sounds cliche, but I mean, if anybody listening to this has a child, they're going to understand what I mean when I say, like, the moment that you become a parent and you physically hold your child, you hold a piece of you in your arms and you are raising that child and they are 100% your responsibility. That's when life kind of becomes even more real. The glasses become a little bit more clear and you see, like, it's not about me. It's not about me doing what I want to do anymore. It's about how am I going to show this little human the best way to live, and it's through my choices, my example. It is the greatest gift. The greatest gift in my life is being a father. I'm so thankful that I have such good parents who are such good mother and father to me.
I know you guys were broken up. Were you there from birth?
From birth, yeah, 100%. I ended up coming back. I should probably say that with the story. I didn't just run and leave and stay in Colorado.
Make sure, because people are going to be in the comments. Did he ever come back?
Yeah, I came back after several months of being out there and just realizing, like, come on, just put your big boy pants on. But
even though you could have played victim, like easily. You had such a good victim. You could have easily just been like, man, I got abandoned as I was a child.
That's crazy that you say that, because I had thought that in my mind, like, I'm doing exactly what my birth mom, like, I feel like my birth mom did to me. Now, I know she didn't run from me. I do know the full situation. She didn't run from me, but I felt as if I was almost repeating my world of, okay, I made a choice. This is going to be a reality for me. I'm going to be a parent. You can run from it or you can stay. And I felt as if I wanted to run from it. That was my first reaction. And so I'm just being real and honest and human and admitting that it was my first reaction was to, okay, move somewhere else and just think, just be for a while. Don't just make this a permanent thing, but just think and be. And so I went to the mountains and I was thinking and I was just being. And in that, I was woken up spiritually and just kind of emotionally to, like, hey, come on, go back. Face this parenthood, face this relationship. You need to fix things between you and this person, and you need to raise this child to the best of your ability and not repeat what you lived through yourself. And so that right there is a victory, a triumph in my life that, I didn't fully repeat what I had been through as a child.
Awesome. Because you did have a reason, like, a lot of, on my podcast, I like to talk about not being a victim. Mm-hmm. And you could have easily chose to play in that victim mindset because you did get hurt as a young kid.
For sure.
And even knowing that you were abandoned as a little kid, you could have did the same.
For sure.
You had a reason, you had an excuse. Mm-hmm. But I'm so glad that you chose not to play the victim and you put your big boy pants on.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah,
and
I had to.
Like you said, your mom's words were consequences, right?
You can choose your choices, but you can't choose your consequences.
Yeah. And this was a beautiful
Yes, and this is a beautiful consequence. And consequence, it just means an outcome. And this outcome was beautiful. And in all the best ways. Being a parent is the best thing.
And it probably plays a huge role in the music you probably make now.
For sure.
The way you live your life.
The biggest role that being a parent plays in my life now, and I'm so thankful for it, is the love that I feel towards my son. And it's just like the fact that I can be a father and love so deeply and be loved so deeply. But I heard this guy talking, Jordan Peterson, he said, your kids want to have the best relationship possible with you. And they're the only people in the world that are ever going to want to feel that way towards you. I want to have the best relationship I could possibly have with you ever. That's how your kids feel towards you. And if that's how my son feels towards me, I want that too. And
awesome.
then that all goes even further into God loves us 20 million times stronger than even what I'm feeling right now. How could that be? And so when my son messes up, or, when I've got my dad hat on at the time and I'm like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. You know this is wrong. There's just an overwhelming sense of love that's still, even I'm frustrated. I'm not happy with something. He made a choice, a poor choice, but I'm still like overflowing with love. And I'm just like, but you know what, buddy? Let's make it right. And let's do the right thing, and let's choose the right thing next time. And I just love you so much. And that is such a good reminder of God,
100%. Children are just a huge reminder of God's love upon us, because it's such a different love for our children that is compared to like our parents or our wives.
Yeah.
My love for my children is so different than my
Yeah.
wife for my children.
Right.
It's so weird. I can't
It's
even
crazy.
explain it, but
It's
it's so
crazy.
different,
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's just a reflection of God's love towards
It's a
us,
beautiful thing.
but a million times more, or whatever.
Yeah.
A trillion.
Yeah. Seriously.
So,
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing though. We almost skipped that part.
Right.
I guess if someone is in that victimhood mindset right now, let's say there's another young man that's just about to become a father, and he's running away from it. What kind of helped you realize, like, man, you know what? Let me not.
Yeah. There's answers to all those questions. I mean, if I were to tell anybody, if somebody was in my exact position and wanted to run from it, I'd say all the questions you have, there are answers to them. Part of the reason I ran away wasn't just because it was trauma from my past, but it was also just the fear of the unknown, fear of, okay, so what's birth look like? What do I do about birth? How do you manage that? How do you raise a kid? Wait, how much does it cost? Am I going to have to pay child support? Wait, are they going to hate me? Is he actually going to look like me? Like, all these questions, there are answers to them. They're not going to come right away. Some of them are going to come way later on, years after the child is born. Some of them are going to come from you just putting on your big boy pants and asking those questions, those uncomfortable questions that you're seeking, because what you're doing by having all those questions on your mind and not bringing them to a close or seeking any sort of answer, you're leaving essentially an open gap in your brain. And our brains are wired to complete things. And so when something doesn't make sense to you, your brain is going to make sense of it to feel more safe. That's what our brain wants to do, is feel safe. So when you want to make sense of something, like for me, when I ran away, it was my brain trying to make sense of all the things I'd been in my past, all the things that were coming at me then, and all the things I was going to live through, and say, let's be safe. Let's just go somewhere safe. Well, Colorado on the top of a mountain sounds safe. Let's just go as far as we can. But God's not calling us to feel safe all the time. God's not calling us to run away from our problems. In fact, in the Bible, the last person, Jonah, trying to run away, got swallowed by a whale. There are ways that God grabs us and proverbially swallows us by a big fish and spits us out where we're supposed to be. You know what I mean? So for me, I would say to a person going through a similar situation is just ask the questions. That was my answer to the last thing you said too, is just, I just feel like life is just full of so many questions. Life feels like one big question mark. Why am I here? Is there really a God? If there is a God, then this, then that, then why this? It's always going to be a question. Why is this person running our country? Why is that person not? Why has this happened? Why did this person die? It's always why? Instead of just, learning to just ask those difficult questions and to allow things to just be the way that they are. And so for me, I'm a big fan of just allowing life to happen, but also asking those uncomfortable questions, because I think a lot of people don't ask uncomfortable questions. They get scared too. Whatever. These days, it just feels like you say any certain word wrong and people will start rioting in front of your house. It's like, that's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like, yeah.
And so to ask those uncomfortable questions in a setting that you can trust people, that's one of the most effective things that you could do for your mental health. I truly believe that, and I'm living proof of that. I asked the questions. I asked about my birth mom. I asked, why was I sexually assaulted at a young age? Why didn't I do anything about it? Why did I run when I found out I was going to be a father? why did I pursue music over sports or anything else? Why? You know, there's a lot of questions, and
lot.
you're allowed to ask God any sort of question you
I'm
want.
so happy you just like what really hit me is when you said the fear of the unknown, fear of unknown, and can you imagine how many people miss out on God's blessings because of their
The fear of the unknown. Right.
It's unbelievable. I'm just thinking right now that hit me so hard. I was started getting a million thoughts in my own personal life.
Right.
You know, how many blessings did I miss out on that God was already giving them to me, handing them
Right.
out, but because of the fear of the unknown, I stopped and I didn't pursue God's will in
We're
my
all
life.
doing it constantly because we're
So-
human, and I think it's so reassuring, and I hope that anybody watching this knows that I really mean it, that we're all human and we're all seeking answers to questions. We
Yeah.
all have questions. We're all looking for the answers. And I have not found all the answers. I've never met anybody who has found all the answers, and I don't plan on ever meeting anybody who has all the answers other than Jesus, God. He's got all the answers.
That's it.
And I don't have all the answers even while pursuing Jesus in my life. I don't have all the answers, but I do know that when you start to ask questions and you start to seek, you start to find things. And those things can really help.
Yeah, that's really touching. I like that. I guess in life, I feel like even for me or you or anybody, we have to have a why in our lives to why we get up in the morning and do
Right.
what we do. Yours is music. It feels like a lot of it.
Yeah.
How could you tell somebody like, hey, find your why? Or how could you inspire someone to have the desire to go and seek for their why? Because a why is why it gets me up in the morning. You got to have a why, you know, or else we're going to fade away and,
Right.
you know, go different ways. But I think building a strong foundation in life and having an actual why we do this, how can someone find it? That's a tough question, though.
That is a really tough question because I think it's different for every single person.
Like for you, for you, I feel like it's music. I don't want to answer the question
Yeah.
for you, but your why. I mean, obviously now it's your child too.
Yeah.
They're a big part of your why.
For sure.
You do what you do.
For sure. Yeah. I would say the answer, my short answer is, if somebody were to say why or what's your why, I would say because. Now, that in that word because are a lot of things. I would say because I have a family, because I love music, because this is what God is calling me to do, because my life is lined up in a way that this is supposed to be what I pursue, because I looked for the answers, and I'm still seeking the answers. I would say because. That's just my answer.
That's actually
because.
a great answer. And
All
it's a
of
truthful
those things.
answer.
It is very honest because I don't have one thing where I say, it's this, it's that, and that's why I do what I do. No, I do what I do because.
I
Because
like
why?
that. Man, that's a great answer.
Because there are so many reasons
That's
why.
such a good answer.
So that's my answer.
Just find one reason, for people that are
Yeah.
not doing anything with their life or don't have a specific purpose in their
Yeah.
life, or at least they feel like they don't have a specific purpose. Just find a why, Man, how do you stay so positive all the time? I've known you for so long. Like, I'm a very positive person, and sometimes people get mad because of it. I even had one person
Right.
message me like, dude, how are you so positive all the time? And they were
Right.
like, they were kind of mad.
Yeah.
Because, like, even if you know my social media, I'm always positive. I'm
Right.
always saying, like, speaking life into
Yeah.
people. And some people get mad. And, like, I realize you right now, you're such a positive. Like, quick story about your airplane.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, yeah. I got up in the so I got up like at 5 o'clock, and you started calling me. I'm like, oh, you're like my airplane broke down. I'm like, this guy is a funny guy. Like, he's a
Yeah.
comedian too. Like, he's a musician and he's a comedian. I'm like, there's no way his airplane broke.
Yeah.
I know delays and stuff, but that's like a bad excuse.
Right.
I'm like, there's no way. And then you called me. You're like, yo, my airplane. But God is so good, man. He's probably protecting me from something. I'm like, 6 a.m. I'm like, is this me speaking to myself? Because that's something I would say.
Yeah.
So, man, even just your positivity hit me right off the bat.
Oh, thank you.
But my question is, how do you stay so positive?
My
Life
answer
tough,
is
man.
I'm human. I'm not always positive. I can tell you that. I am not always positive. But 98% of the time, I am trying to think positively. I think because of my choices. I make choices that cultivate a life around me that there is no reason to be upset. And if one does come up, I've cultivated a life that I have support system around me. I have people who are praying for me. I have people who are praying with me. Yeah, I've got a good support system. My parents, my siblings, and just everybody who supports me. I think that's why I'm able to be happy. And I learned early on also from my mom, rejection is protection. And so sometimes
That's
when
good.
you get rejected for something, or like a plane shutting down or whatever was happening the other day, when I was getting ready to fly here, it's just protection. I just take it as that, because it's so easy to think in your mind like, well, I'm not supposed to go. I'm not supposed to be in New York. I'm not supposed to go. Well, I'm not supposed to have this talk. Well, the podcast is probably just not right for me. And there are people who will think that and just run with it. Or there's people who are like, well, the door's not closed. This is probably protection. Like, I'm gonna take it as that. And then when the door closes, I'll know. And so that's how I took it yesterday. It's just like all these delays coming up. It's
Dude,
just like,
I was so
might be
sleepy
protection.
too. So
You're telling me,
I'm
bud.
like, yeah.
I was up at like 3 a.m. and then they're like, yeah, sorry, call this 1-800 number and figure it out.
Dude,
and I'm
I
like,
felt so bad though,
great.
man. I felt so bad.
Nah, it's all part of
I
it.
was
And I'm
like,
here now, so I'm very thankful.
yeah, I'm glad that it all worked out. So,
Yeah,
but I was
thank
a
you
little
so much.
disappointed.
I
for
was
you
too. I was
to
too.
drive. But man,
Yeah.
you still kept it positive. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
God is
You got it,
protecting us
man.
from something.
Yeah.
There's so many stories I can tell you about, like the Twin Towers. I already said that
Yeah,
one.
that was a good story.
There was even another one. The guy was driving and his tire popped. And that time that he switched, did something, he stopped on the side of the road. He went and a train hit the car in front of him.
Whoa.
So like if God never allowed his tire to pop, he would have got hit by the train.
Right.
So like even like scenarios like that, man, God's protecting you. Just
Right.
look at it that way. Even if
Right.
even if it's not.
Yeah.
But just to change your mindset into that, your life will be so much better.
Yeah, dude.
So much more positive. So.
Yeah, I can think of so many different instances in my life that have come up, and if I had made, even one split-second choice different, I might not be here, or other people wouldn't be here, or whatever else, just who knows what
Yeah.
could have ever happened. But thank you, Jesus, for
100%.
keeping us safe and making it to 30
what's
years.
what's your I guess next 5-year plan? Like what do you have in mind for your future? Like what's your dream
I'm just
life?
gonna
Like,
keep doing what I'm actually living my dream life right now. I travel full time. I get to sing and make music full time. I get to reach people through my music spiritually and emotionally. I get to connect with people. I think that's really important in life. And if it's my music that does that for people, and I'm also helping people through my music. And so I'm literally living the dream. I get to live where I want to live. I get to do what I want to do. And I get to be who I want to be. And I think there's a lot of freedom in that.
it's so awesome because my question that I wanted to ask you, what does success mean to you now compared to when you started? And
Yeah.
you just kind of answered
I'm
it a
in
little
it.
bit.
I'm in it 100%. And I've always thought exactly what I'm living right now is what I wanted in like 2017 when I first released music. I wanted what I'm doing now. I wanted to be able to come out and share my heart and speak to cool people like you on podcasts.
That's awesome.
I wanted to be able to post a video online and know it's going to be put in front of the right people who will appreciate it. I wanted to be able to be paid to play music, and make a career and travel and all the things that I'm doing now and be a parent. All of the things I'm doing now is what I pictured myself doing in my dream life in 2017.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people confuse success with wealth.
Yeah, no. I don't think those two always go hand in
But
hand.
a lot of people think that.
But a lot of people do think that.
Because social media comparisons
Right, right.
it shows one thing which is not reality.
Right.
So a lot of people tie those two together.
Right.
If you're not wealthy, you're not successful.
Right.
But they don't understand the freedom you have now.
Right.
And the enjoyment. I was talking to someone the other day. I would rather live a shorter life, but a more experienced and more joyful life than a miserable,
Yeah.
wealthy life.
Yeah.
And a longer
100
life.
years of misery.
Yeah,
It's not even
so
worth it.
it's not. Like you said, success and wealth don't have nothing to do with each other.
I personally don't think they always have much to do with each other. I will say money, financial freedom does bring comfort, and I'm thankful for that. But I'm also thankful for the fact that, I never have to work a day in my life anymore. I'm not saying I don't have to work. I'm saying it doesn't feel like work. Nothing feels like work when I'm doing what I love. You know what I mean? So I love it so much that I'm not going, I gotta do it, or I have to work tomorrow, I have to sing. No, I get to. I can't wait to, and I'm about to, and it's just so exciting. And I think that also leaks into why I feel positive a lot
That's
of
so
the time
awesome.
too.
That's actually that could even bless people that work for somebody. Because they can get up in the morning and say, man, I get to go to work today.
Yeah.
I get to
A
do
lot of
this
people who
today."
don't.
Yeah, so even not to people to think that, if you don't own a business or you don't work for yourself, that you're not successful.
Right.
Or that you're not supposed to be where you are. You're not where you are where you're supposed to be or whatever. So that's perfect because you get to go to work.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's so, man, that just answered everybody's question, not just those
Yeah,
people
man.
that work for themselves. So just no matter where you work or where you're going, just thank God that you get to.
Yeah, man, because there's so many people who
don't.
can't.
Yeah,
do
there's
that
there's a
anymore.
picture of like a guy riding a bicycle, and then the other guy. No, there's a guy walking, and then one guy's riding the bicycle, and he's like, "Man, I wish I had a bicycle." And the guy in the bicycle is riding his bike, and he sees a car, and he's like, "I wish I was in the car." And the guy keeps going, and then the
Just
guy's
keeps
driving a
going.
nicer car.
Yeah.
And that's how it is.
It's never ending.
But you get to.
Yeah.
That's right there. I can just leave off.
Yeah,
And I can bless somebody.
You get to.
You get to do that.
You get to.
So just be thankful that you're able to, and that God gave you.
That's a powerful way to start your day too. It's a really powerful way. I encourage anybody listening to this or watching this right now is just like when you start your day, instead of saying I have to go to work, whenever you say I've got to work tomorrow or I've got to get up early or I have to, start saying I get to. I get to wake up tomorrow. I get to go to work tomorrow in the morning. Not only are you telling your own brain this is an opportunity to be better, not saying this is an opportunity to do the same thing every single time. You're telling yourself something's going to be better and different about this day, but you're also speaking to people when you say those things. You're speaking life into those people. You're not draining from them saying, I have to do this. I want to make sure you know how miserable I am about doing this. The tone of my voice is going to tell you I have to do this. No, I get to. That person is going to hear two completely different versions. This person is excited and looking forward to it, or this person has to do it, hates doing it, and doesn't really enjoy it.
Man, that just blessed me, honestly. It's so good.
Yeah,
It
it's hard though. It's not.
It's
We're not
difficult,
perfect. It's
100%.
very, very difficult. But if you just try it for one day, instead of saying have to and change it to get to,
Dude, you just change in one word.
watch what happens in the way that you're perceived and the way that you perceive things. When people say, "Hey, we're going out," and then we have that big report, after lunch, so you have to get that done. Okay, well, I get to get that report done after lunch, and then I get to hop on that.
Dude, that's crazy.
See what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's
just one word you're swapping out, but it
Get to.
changes your perspective.
you don't have to. You get to.
Such a blessing, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And I guess this is one thing I really wanted to ask you. What is one lyric that really hits you hard every time you sing it or you think about it?
This
this
it's a
has gotta
song
be
you
good.
like too. It's a song that I wrote that you really like. It's called "Then Again." I say, "Then again, I need someone to love me for me," and it kind of it's saying "then again." I wrote it in the perspective of just feeling really daisy, just kind of like hazy in the mind of not really understanding who's there for you, who is actually supporting you compared to who is just there because they have to be, like, oh, well, he's my friend, so I got to show up here, or I got to help you out there, or whatever. Who's there because they want to be there for you? Who's there who actually loves you for who you are? And that was kind of my realization. I feel like a lot of people go through that. It's like, wait, then again, I deserve that too. Why do you get, then again, I need somebody to love me. And that is literally the thought I was having. Wait, then again, I could use that. That's exactly the thought I was having when I wrote the song. So I was like, man, then again, I need somebody to love me for who I am. And so it's a really, really powerful song called Then Again.
Oh, it's like repeating in my mind now since I started listening to it.
Yeah.
It's such an addicting. When you plan music, do you try to create music that kind of can hook somebody on it, or is it just natural? You just go in and like, man, if it sticks, it sticks. Because that hook is so addicting. It's like one of those things that like, I don't know. I can't really think of some on top of my head that
I know what you mean.
Dude, it's just such an addicting tone and melody.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
first
that
of
you
all.
just want to constantly just listen to it.
Yeah, I would like to say, yeah, I come up with these melodies because it's just what sonically works best for everybody in their brain and all of that. But these are all songs that I write from scratch. Some of these songs, like that Then Again song, is only a year old, but I have a song that is my biggest song. It's called Help. And millions of people have listened to it and heard of the song, and it's been on the radio and all of this stuff. And that song it came out in like 2020, and I wrote it in like 2015.
Wow.
So like years and years, I'll start a song and then I won't have a chorus to it. But then years later, that chorus will hit me and I'll know exactly what has to happen. So that's how my writing brain works,
That's
but
so
it works
awesome.
differently for everybody. Writing for me is really difficult if I'm forced to do it on the spot. Somebody's like, hey, write me a song. I mean, I could, but it's not going to be great. But if I have the opportunity to just sit with myself and just sit with what I want, or if it just naturally hits me, it's like an antenna. When I get a clear signal, I'm then able to, I guess, regurgitate that into feelings and words, and then it turns into a song.
Well, guys, make sure you go and listen. Then again, right?
Yep.
Then again by Samuel Harness on YouTube. We'll drop the link below because this song is addicting. It really
Thank
is.
you.
Like the melody is so addicting.
Good.
Oh man. Question really quick. How long does an average song take you to write? Does it depend? Well, obviously, you just had one that 2000.
It's taken years sometimes, but I've written a song within 10 minutes before. But like I said, when that antenna gets clear, it's clear. Like it is very, very clear. Like as a kid, like I used to have bunny ears on the back of our TV, and we had to move them around because we had to get a clear picture of the show and all of that.
Dude, the
That's
generation
kind of
does
what it
not
is.
know
Yeah,
what it
some
is.
people won't know what I'm talking about, but there's these two pieces of metal you had to move around behind your TV to kind of get a clear connection.
And every channel is different. You got
Every channel would be different, and I would take. Sometimes I took like tin foil and would wrap it around the top of them or whatever. But all that to be said, yeah, when the connection is clear, I can kind of sit down and absorb the song, and this is what I want to say. But it does always start with a topic. If I'm living, these are all first person, written in first person, all my songs. None of them are like, oh yeah, I wrote that about this girl I heard about, dude did that. Like all these things are things I've lived through, things I've felt. And I think that's probably why it resonates with people on a
100%.
deeper level. Because
100%.
it's I'm not just saying anything what you want to hear. I'm saying, wait, then again, I deserve to be loved too. Why does it feel like I'm not loved? How do I keep doing that? Because I feel broken. I feel shattered. Beyond what they say, I can fix myself. So who's going to fix me? How am I going to be fixed then? And those are all lyrics in the song. So,
Man. Well, while we still have it, it's running in my head. So can you sing it that little part again?
yeah, I got
Come
you.
on, do it again.
Then again, I need someone to love me for me. 'Cause I've been broken, been shattered. Beyond what they say, I can fix myself.
Dude, that was so good.
Listen to the recorded
I'm
version. It's
telling
better.
you, yeah. No, this was so good. Like, you literally sing just like you sing on TV.
Thank you.
No joke,
It'd be
man.
really awkward if you
That
said,
is
"Wow,
so
I'm
awesome.
terrible
Well,
in
a lot of artists sing completely different.
Yeah.
A lot. So, man,
Well, that was
is-
right on the spot too. So.
That is unbelievable,
Thank
man.
you.
I'm
I
actually
appreciate
super
that.
excited to FaceTime my kids right now and show them.
Good.
Actually, quickly, because my kids are super big fans. Like, we listen to him in the mornings on the way to school, and I FaceTime him in the cafe.
Yeah.
And my daughter was like, am I going to see him in real life? Can he sing me a song?
That makes me so happy. And that's right there. Like, you had no idea who I was until you saw a video of mine, but now I'm in the same room talking to you about my story and why you feel the emotions through my voice and why they're there. And that right there is just the power of music. Not only did my music speak to you emotionally, it spoke to you in a way that is like, hey, come out and I want to hear more about you. I want to share your voice with my family. Like that, music has taken a complete stranger and allowed them to open up their resources and their home and your most precious children to me because of music. That's the
No,
power
that's
of music.
awesome.
You know what I
That's
mean?
awesome.
It does stuff like that. Music
This
is
was
amazing.
man, this was a blessed time. I'm
Thank you so
happy
much for
this-
having me.
Yeah, this was awesome. We might have to do another part 2.
Part 2,
maybe
folks,
a vlog.
let us know.
Yeah.
Comment below.
So awesome, man. It was a pleasure having you on.
Stan,
this was
thank you.
such a cool experience. I learned so much. Music's gonna be a lot better now for me.
Good.
Listening to your
Yeah.
songs. So I appreciate your time, man. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, Stan. I
Yep.
appreciate you, man.